Today I'm talking about updates for 3 different software platforms. The first of which I'm kind of ambivalent about, the second of which I'm delighted to see, and the third of which is going to open a whole can of worms. We start with Rekordbox 7.2.8, which just released a few days ago at the time of making this video. This is a fairly minor update, a bunch of bug fixes in there, always welcome, always glad to see those. There are 2 new features, I would say. Firstly, if you are new to the cloud library stuff in Rekordbox, if you've just signed up for a cloud plan or whatever, there is a new setup wizard available to help you get that set up. It kind of holds your hand through the process. So yeah, always nice to see that kind of thing, make these things a little bit more straightforward. Then we have something new in performance mode. So I'll go into performance mode now. And there we go. Right. So you'll notice 3 stems, because Rekordbox has always had 3 stems: vocal, instrumental, and drums. That's what they had from the word go, and that's been the case up to now. But now if we go into the preferences, stems, in the extension settings, we've now got the ability to use 4 stems: vocal, instrumental, bass, and drums, just like all the other software has had since day one. I mean, okay, great. I'm really happy about that. The sound quality has not been improved. The actual algorithm hasn't been improved. It's still subpar compared to Algorithm's DJ, VirtualDJ, and Serato, even if you choose the prioritize sound quality mode, which did improve them, no doubt about it. So on the one hand, yeah, this is great. On the other hand, this does make me kind of scratch my head a little bit, because their flagship club style, CDJ style controller that isn't also a standalone device is the DJay Flex 10, which was built around 3 stems. It was built around that initial Rekordbox stems offering. So all the controls on there are for 3 stems. And the stems effects, the main stem separation buttons, they're all 3 stems. So that thing is kind of looking a bit out of date now, all of a sudden, and that is their flagship, as I say, their top end, I would say, club style controller. So yeah, it's a weird one, right? I mean, I don't know where the mistake lies. Was the mistake in not having the 4 stems in the first place? I would say it probably was, but then why did the hardware people, I don't know. All I know is, like, Rekordbox, it's in a weird place right now, I have to be honest, right? We had this big discussion a few weeks back about the whole device library plus migration, the one library stuff, all of that has come through. And so I'm sort of really excited about the future on the one hand, but then they had some issues with the CDJs and the compatibility. And I just don't think the Rekordbox software team are really firing on all cylinders right now. I'm really looking forward to a fairly major reset in approach from Rekordbox in 2026, because I'll be honest, as of right now, the biggest update that I'm excited about in Rekordbox is the fact that in 7.2.5, it introduces one library. I can now export my CDJ USBs from Algorithm's DJ, and I rarely have to open Rekordbox. That's the biggest upgrade they've made to it in a long time for me, is the fact that I don't have to go into it very often anymore. And I think that's pretty sad, because this is, the software that accompanies some of the very best DJ hardware on the market, some of the most popular DJ hardware on the market, and the software right now is kind of letting that hardware down. So yeah, 7.2.8, no issues upgrading to this. It's a new full release, no beta or anything like that. If you want the 4 stems, there it is. Yeah, just go ahead, get it installed, you're all fine. But yeah, I'm honestly feeling a bit underwhelmed by Rekordbox at this point in time. So we move on to Algorithm's DJ, or DJ Pro. I'm never quite sure what to call it. This one is the software that I've been using the most in 2025. It's not perfect by any stretch. No software ever is. And there are some definite improvements I would like to see them make, in particular for me around the area of smart playlists. Their smart playlists are not very smart at all. They don't have enough rules and parameters available in them, so I can't recreate my smart crates from Serato DJ Pro, which is a bit of an issue, because that's how I mainly organize my music library. So I hope they get that sorted soon. But in general, I've been really enjoying it. Since the introduction of one library, it's made it much more straightforward to transfer your playlists over from a Mac version or a Windows version over into iOS, which was always a big hurdle before. So that's been really improved towards the end of this year as well. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy and I'm really enjoying it. Let's talk about what's in here. There is a bunch of bug fixes, like loads and loads, which I won't really talk about. Stuff like, improved behavior with fast scratches on macOS and Windows on CDJs. They have also added on the DDJ 1000, 1000 SRT, the DDJ 800, Flex 10 and Rev 5. You've now got 2 pages of cue points available. They've added support on the DDJ 1000 for beat effects and color effects. And yeah, lots of little things like that, which are great. That's all good. But then we get up to the hardware. And this is where things get interesting. They've added support for the XDJ AZ and for the Opus Quad, including screen support on macOS and Windows, not on iOS, and that's going to be a bit of a theme here. I just don't think screens are very possible on iOS. That's the impression I'm getting from Algorithm, is there are just some limitations that they just can't get over when it comes to putting displays out to from iOS onto hardware. I wish that wasn't the case. It would be cool to be able to use displays with iOS. I'd love to be using my iPad more regularly to DJ, but it seems like it can't be done. But that's great though. XDJ AZ and Opus Quad, including screen support on macOS and Windows. Brilliant, right? That's their kind of flagship hardware from Alpha Theta, Pioneer DJ right now, so all good there. Then we have added support for the Zone 24C, the new mixer with USB capability from Allen and Heath, which will be arriving with me soon for review, so that's good. And then here's the one for me, because one of the reasons I haven't fully switched over to Algorithm over the past year is that when I'm using turntables and phase, I generally take my favorite battle mixer, which is the DJM S11. And until now, the DJM S11, when you used it with Algorithm's DJ, it did work, but it looked like it was broken because the screen was not supported, the display wasn't supported. Same thing applies to the DDJ Rev 7. I've been using one of those a bit this year alongside my Rain Performer. Screens on the jogs, not supported. It looks like it's broken, and you're just basically missing out on a lot of the features of your hardware. It's not just a visual thing, right? It's like, well, I have this ability with other software to see my waveforms, to browse my library on the S11, all of that just wasn't there in DJ, and that for me was not great. And I wasn't going to switch out from my favorite battle mixer to use that. But now we've got display screen support for the S11, the Rev 7, the DDJ 1000, and the Omnis Duo on Mac and Windows. And again, so no iOS, but I can live with that. It's there on Mac and Windows now, so absolutely. And it works great. It just looks native. It looks like it does with Serato or with VirtualDJ. Looks all good. Or Rekordbox. Loving that. So I'm very, very happy. The other thing which they didn't mention in the release notes that they sent to me is that previously as well, the effects BPM did not synchronize with the software on the S11 and on the Rev 7. I can't talk to the other hardware because I wasn't using that, but those two devices, you had to either rely on the automatic BPM detection from the hardware or tap it in. Now it follows the BPM perfectly, so your echoes, your delays, all your effects will be fully beat synced. And that is, for me, that's almost as big a thing as the displays, because I just found that very frustrating, trying to get my echoes locked in and quantized and everything else without that synchronization of the BPM data. Yeah, that was a problem. So now my effects are going to be absolutely on point, and I'm looking forward to using the S11 with DJ this weekend coming. Can't wait for that. A couple more bits in here, just wanted to mention. First of all, they've got now support for the offline locker for Beatsource and Beatport on Windows and on Android. It wasn't there before. That's really nice to see, because obviously that's a big thing for us, is the offline locker, and now it's there on all of their platforms that they support. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is this, and that is this new little feature around key display. Now, by default, up until now, the key shown in the software, whether you use Camelot or whatever format you use, has always just been colored. Each one is colored, and it kind of goes through like a logical, spectrum of color as you go through 1A and 4A and 5A. So it kind of follows on logically. It's kind of, it's a clever way of working. Lots of platforms do it that way. It's fine, right? Nothing wrong with that. I certainly wasn't complaining about it. But now we have a new feature. We go into the library settings within the preferences, and we've got show keys in different colors. We can color all keys, which is the standard behavior, color matching keys, and color matching or adjacent keys. And this is super cool. So we now sort by artist or title or BPM or whatever. We can see this track, this is the master track loaded into deck 1 at the moment. That's 12A. And we can see all of the keys in the library, apart from matching keys or adjacent keys, are white. But yeah, 12A, that's colored, 1A colored. This is very similar to the kind of green display on a CDJ. So when you've got a CDJ, you're going through a playlist, it will show you compatible keys. They will turn green on a CDJ. If, you might not be that invested in key mixing. I personally try and mix in key wherever I can. I'm not going to let it dictate exactly what I'm going to play, but I'll certainly be aware of whether something is in key or not, and I might mix it in a different way. And for me, that traffic light kind of green light system on the CDJ was always fantastic. Now we've got it here. So yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of this mode, and I will be using this in my setups all the time. Absolutely. This is how I will switch to, and I will have it available. So yeah, this one is 11A, it's blue. So I know that's going to be a compatible key. I can load that one up. Whoops. Try again. Oh, there's a 12A, perfect match, right? So yeah, that's just a nice little quality of life thing, which I think it's definitely one that I'm going to use. So overall, this new version of Algorithms DJ brings a lot of stuff to the party, which I was looking for. That hardware support with the displays, absolutely superb. New hardware support in general, and a few nice little extras as well. Now we move on to VirtualDJ 2026, and the keen-eyed amongst you will notice that I'm wearing different clothes, and that's because this is the next day. I filmed this yesterday, watched it back, and I wanted to just kind of sleep on it and try and get my thoughts in order. I also wanted to speak to a few DJ friends of mine and get some outside perspectives before I bring you my thoughts on the stuff that's in VirtualDJ 2026. A couple of things to mention before we begin. This is, unlike the other 2 bits of software I looked at here, this is an early access version. You can enable early access builds in the software and download it and get it installed right now, but treat it more like a public beta. It's not a full release right now. If you've got mission critical, holiday parties and stuff coming up, I would be inclined to not install this on your main gig laptop at this time. Right, so that is a caveat first of all. The second caveat is that I am not a VirtualDJ user. I'm not even really much of a fan of VirtualDJ. That's not me saying that VirtualDJ is bad, because actually VirtualDJ is incredibly impressive in a number of different ways. Their stems are really good. It has a bunch of features which make it incredibly useful for a wide variety of DJs, many of which I don't care about, right? And that's the whole thing. The focus of this software, it has loads of stuff that I'm just not interested in. Things like karaoke, things like video, there's just auto mix, all that kind of stuff is not there. It's useful for other, I could use VirtualDJ. I would not have an issue with using it, but there's other software platforms that are more focused on the stuff that I care about. So those are the ones I use. But I absolutely respect VirtualDJ, and I respect those who choose to use it. No dissing here whatsoever. It's really cool software. But there's some stuff in this new update which is going to get people really talking, and it's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons in many ways. The first thing, which is not going to be controversial, is that they've overhauled their effects massively. They've put loads of new effects in there, things that are inspired by hardware effects from like Alpha Theta, Pioneer DJ and Rain, etc. As someone who doesn't really use VirtualDJ, I'm not sure what's new and what isn't. All of the ones I've tried sound fantastic. You've got loads of control over them. You can choose your own custom lists and all that kind of stuff. I was very impressed with the effects in here. As I say, I just don't know how they compare with what came before because I've never really used the ones that came before. So you know, take that as you will. They seem great to me. Absolutely awesome. One thing that's not in here right now is fluid automatic beat grids, as you find in Algorithms DJ. Someone from VirtualDJ has posted and said that is on their roadmap. It's coming, it's just not here yet. Then there are kind of 3 other big features, all of which are based around AI. You know, AI is the buzzword of the moment, not just in DJing and music, but in the wider technology sphere. Lots of people have issues with AI. Lots of people are making great use of AI. It is absolutely it's a double-edged sword in a lot of ways. And the thing to understand is that, and I have to put this in my own perspective sometimes, right? AI refers to a lot of stuff. You've got like the generative AI, which I feel like is pretty dangerous for those of us in creative fields. Not great. Like everyone, I've kind of dabbled with it, but I don't think it's great. Not ideal. Then you've got machine learning, which is already in use in many ways within our DJ software. Stems, for example, that's coming from machine learning AI, right? As is those fluid dynamic beat grids in DJ. Those are basically, that's machine learning tech going on in the background. It actually does those on the fly. It doesn't even pre-render them. It does them on the fly. Like, it's really clever. And then you've got large language models, or LLMs, which try and interpret words, basically, that they learn. You know, they take in input from all over the internet and they get trained in various ways, and then they try and pass all that information out back to you as useful info. And the problem is that LLMs generally are not good for accuracy. Like if you search for something on Google now, it gives you the AI results first, but underneath it says AI generated results may not be accurate. Yeah, because they might not be, right? It just gets things wrong. It hallucinates, right? It doesn't understand. And if you have trained it in a certain way to have a certain perspective, it can really color the results. And there are many, many issues around LLMs. So I've got problems with LLMs and I've got problems with generative AI, machine learning. As a rule, it's pretty useful. A good use of machine learning AI here in VirtualDJ 2026 is the fact that they've got now their duplicates folder. It works on reading the audio fingerprint of a track, not just the tags or the file names. So that should make finding duplicates and sorting those out much easier. That's a good use of technology like that. The other 2 big features, the headline features, are ones which I think highlight both the advantages, the benefits of AI, and also the massive negatives. Each one, there's 2 of them. One is like, oh, okay. The other one is like, no. All right. The first one is, it's got this new lyrics detection, right? And it's an interesting concept, definitely. Like, I think partly the idea is that you can load up a track and you will get the lyrics appearing on the waveform. So I'm just going to keep this muted, but you'll be able to see. So there are the lyrics on the waveform, and you can't zoom in, or you can't like make the font bigger or smaller. But in theory, you can use that for like wordplay transitions and stuff. I know a lot of wedding DJs like to do very clever wordplay transitions. This is great because you can see the lyrics on the waveforms. That's a cool idea. The other suggested idea for this is that you harness both the lyrics and the stems, and VirtualDJ stems 2.0, really good, right? You can have video here, and you can have either text animation or karaoke on the screen, generated from those AI generated lyrics. This means any track that you have in your library or in your streaming services or anything that supports, if your streaming services support stems like Beatsource does, then you can have karaoke version on the fly of any track in your library. But here's the issue. It's not very accurate. Like, I've tested now probably about 40 different tracks, and not a single time has it got the timing and the exact lyrics correct for any of the tracks. They're all in different genres. It does better with like hip hop, where the diction of the vocalist is clearer a lot of the time. It does better with that, but it gets some very bizarre, random words that just doesn't make any sense. This one is boom, boom, boom. you know, boom, 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 let me hear you say wayo, right? And that originally, when it first analysed it, it came up and all the booms were vroom, 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 let me hear you say hey-oh. Like it's not good enough, right? It's not good enough. It's all right if it's on your waveforms on your screen, but if you're putting this out to a room full of 500 people doing karaoke, it's not good enough. And it's not that clever, right? It's a clever concept, and maybe the model will improve over time, but as of today, I could not rely on it. Again, the concept's really good, and you can go into the preferences and you can censor certain words. And in the new version I've just got today, they've got the ability, the words that you censor in the lyrics will also mute those words in the track audio as well. So this is all really like a great concept, but it highlights the limitations of using AI for this stuff, because the results I've got are not good enough not to put on a screen in front of a room full of people. They're good enough for my waveforms, but they're not good enough to put on a screen reliably every time. And sometimes I have to go in and right click and like lyrics editor and rescan it a second time, you know, reanalyze, and maybe that will improve it. Sometimes there's certain tracks in here like this Naughty Girl E-Squire that I play a lot on this channel. It just refuses to accept there's any vocals on it at all, when in fact there are vocals on it. It just refuses to accept there are vocals. So this for me highlights the issues with AI generally in this kind of environment. You can't trust it. It's not reliable. It's cool, it's clever, it's not there. Maybe in a year's time, maybe in 2 years' time, it'll be reliable. That one's not doing it for me. But then we have the second feature, and this is the one that I thought I was going to hate. I thought I would despise this with every fiber of my being. And I don't. I don't hate it actually at all. I think it's actually pretty cool. It's the AI prompt. You go to this ideas folder down here, click on AI prompt, and there's some examples there, right? Let's just keep it straightforward. Let's go, and it's just like ChatGPT or something. It might even be, you know, ChatGPT on the back end. I don't know, right? But so tracks for an 8th birthday, can't spell today, birthday party in the UK. Because I have kids, like I know what stuff they would dig at a party. It then brings you up a bunch of options separated into categories. We've got popular pop hits, clean versions. We've got classic party starters, and we've got movie and kids show soundtracks. And as I've done this now multiple times, I'm looking at that list and I'm not going to argue with any of that list. As someone who is an experienced DJ, like I've got no argument with any of this. You know, Pharrell Williams, Happy. It's all pretty obvious stuff, right? Shake It Off, Taylor Swift, Party in the USA, Macarena, YMCA, Gangnam Style, Cha-Cha Slide. We Don't Talk About Bruno. Like all of this is, yeah, I'm not arguing with that. And you can say, well, you're a DJ, it's your job to know that. But actually, like if you're a new DJ, or maybe you never play for a kid's party, maybe you want some suggestions for that. Am I cross about this? Not really. I mean, it gives you descriptions and everything else as well about why you might want to play that. And of course, it's then on you to listen to the track and decide if you're going to play it. It's not giving you, you know, you shouldn't just play everything in this list without, you know, considering other factors. But like, and then you can click through and you can find it either in your library or on your streaming services that you're connected to, and you can load it and you can play it. Or if you're doing this before a gig, you can drag it into a playlist. And I'm not angry about this. I'm really not, because, you know, I spoke to some of the DJs that I spoke to. They were like, no, this is dreadful. It's terrible. I'd never do that. And then I spoke to others who were like, yeah, I played like a 60th birthday recently and I didn't really know what to play. So I went to ChatGPT and I typed it in there and it gave me some suggestions, and then I had to transfer those, you know, move that across into my DJ software. Well, now it's here in my DJ software. I'm not mad about this. Like, I'm not mad in a negative way. I'm all right with this. Uptown Funk, there you go. I mean, it's really obvious, right? And this might not go, you know, super deep, but it's going to do the job. And then I think about, okay, well, I'm not looking for general party records. I know all of those. But what if I'm playing at like a bottle service venue, or I'm doing a certain kind of birthday party and I've got a crowd in, let's say I've got a load of people in from the country of Jordan, for example. So Jordanian dance hits, right? I want to make that table happy. They're popping bottles, they're spending big, right? I want to make them happy, surprise them with some Jordanian music. There you go. It's got traditional folk dance stuff and we've got modern Jordanian pop. And again, it's on me to, you know, locate those files in. I can search through and I listen to them and make sure they are appropriate and suitable. It's not automating the whole process for you, but it's a good start, right? And, you know, maybe I can go further and show me the biggest records from Autostrad, whoever that is, right? And maybe I can make those people from Jordan in my club happy. And yeah, you know, one of the guys I showed this to, he was like, yeah, but I could just do that on my phone or I could just do it on my computer. Well, I'm like, well, but you could also just do it in your DJ software now. You could do it before the gig. If you don't want to like put extra stress on your computer, you could do it before, but you can do it on the fly. If you've got, you know, one of the examples they put in there is like, okay, what's the, you know, you've got someone comes up to you and says, oh, have you got the one that goes da da da, you know, what's the track which has the lyrics Get Low? I mean, we all know what that's going to be, right? But just top of my head. Let's see how it does. There's, you know, there you go, Little John and the East Side Boys. There it is. Get Low. And it can do it from, you know, not just from the title. You know, one of the examples they give is apple bottom jeans, right? And it can do that. And all it's doing is searching the internet, basically. It's automating that process. You could Google that yourself. But then here, it's giving me features repeated Get Low in chorus. And maybe that's the song that my customer that I'm playing for has asked me for. And I'm not upset about this. I'm really not. And I'm not discounting all of the arguments against, you know, things like the power usage of LLMs and all this and the issues around the bubble in the tech industry and whether that's going to burst and all of that. I'm not suddenly signing on as a massive fan of AI by any stretch. And as I say, when you need accuracy, like for putting those lyrics on a screen for karaoke, this is not doing the job as far as I'm concerned. But this particular feature, I am against my, you know, my expected perspective. I'm kind of into this. So I'd love to hear from you guys and girls down in the comments. Are you already using stuff like ChatGPT to help you prepare music for gigs? Are you using it on the fly? What other AI tools are you using in your setups, in your workflows as DJs? Because I'd love to hear about that. I'm not really using it at all, apart from, as I say, stems. You know, I'm using stems all the time, and that's basically AI, right? It's machine learning. So yeah, tell us about your ways you're working with AI down below. Let us know your thoughts on that new version of Rekordbox, on Algorithms DJ, and on VirtualDJ 2026. Thanks for watching this episode of Beatsource Tech. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And hey, if you haven't already, you can try Beatsource for free and join DJcity for just $10. All the links are down in the description. I'll see you next time.